able to understand properly when we see this video. Okay? Let's watch the video and then we'll do this worksheet.
Ma'am, please start the streaming.
Yes, I have started the streaming bit. I've already started. So let's now see. Okay? I'll just start this video. This is a small video, 10 minutes. But my 10 minutes are a full hour. But let's see. Why it floats and sinks. We'll skip a little in the beginning because that you already know. When it comes to the real explanation, we'll go there. Okay, so now...
I will win this championship. My boat will leave all the boats behind.
I am sure of that. Have you checked the boat?
Check? Check for what?
That it does not have any holes.
No, it does not have holes. But why should I check that?
If the boat has holes, it will sink in the river. Only if it doesn't have any holes, it will float.
Okay. So do you know? If it has holes, it will sink in the river. Why? Who will tell me why? Why will it sink in the river if the boat has holes?
Ma'am, may I tell?
Wait, let me see who will answer. Yes, Diksha. Why will it sink if it has holes? Answer. Why will it sink? Come on, Diksha, answer. Unmute yourself. Or who else can answer? Can you answer, Yuvraj? Why will it sink if it has holes? Or Anurag, can you answer? If a boat, see a boat
मैम क्योंकि उसके ऊपर पानी भर जाता है.
float करती है. A boat floats, but if it has holes, it sinks. Can you
मैम जब उसके ऊपर होल होता है तो मैम उसके ऊपर पानी भर जाता है मैम इसलिए.
So उससे क्या होगा? So what?
मैम इसलिए वो सिंक कर लेती है.
नहीं, पर उससे होता क्या है जो कि वो सिंक करती है?
Yes, bro. You're a tell, bro.
मैम
हाँ, ऐसा क्या चीज हो जाती है जिसकी वजह से? ओके नीरज, यू टेल.
Ma'am,
In English.
what?
And Anurag, Yuvraj, we have decided that we will try to speak as much as possible in English in the classes. Okay? So you should also try. Okay, tell
Ma'am,
me,
एरिया के
Neeraj.
हिसाब से वजन बढ़ जाता है तो
Oh,
मैम समझ नहीं
oh,
पाएंगे.
oh my God.
English, in English.
In English, yes. Huh.
Yes, ma'am.
What happens
From
if there are holes?
water is fill the
हाँ,
boat,
हाँ,
then
what
their weight is increased
fills
in
in the boat? Fills in the boat, huh? Fills in the boat. The weight
fills in the boat
the weight
was
increases.
increased
Increases. The weight
Increases.
increases. So it sinks.
in large amount.
Okay, so it sinks. Okay, so what happens actually, Anurag, when the water gets filled, which was
Ma'am, एक हिंदी में
absolutely
भी है.
right, which was absolutely right, the weight will increase because of which it will sink. Yes, क्या है हिंदी में?
मैम उसके एरिया के मैम हिंदी में भी है. मैम जितना उसका एरिया वो कवर कर रहा है ना, तो उसके हिसाब से पानी में उतरने के लिए अगर पानी उसके अंदर चला जाता है ना तो एरिया के हिसाब से उसमें पानी भरने से वजन बढ़ जाता
तो
है.
we will see that. Yes. So what will happen? पानी भर जाता नहीं है. पानी gets displaced. Last time also I had explained. If you remember, I had said the water gets displaced. मतलब अपनी जगह से पानी हट जाता है and to give place to the object.
Yes, ma'am.
So how much water gets displaced actually helps us to know whether the object will float or sink, the displacement of water. So we'll watch it. Just a second. Let's go ahead and watch. Very good, Neeraj. Yes, you seem to have seen it a little. The rest of the children have not. Anjali is also
Floats.
joining.
Yes. Now let's pick
Good
up our
morning,
boat and go home.
Good morning, Anjali. Now see this video, watch this video, Anjali. Yeah.
Careful, don't drop the keys in the water.
Don't worry, I will pick up the keys as they float in the water.
But
Oh, tell me, will the keys float or not? Neeraj, you don't say. Will the keys float in the water? He's saying, don't worry. If the keys fall in the water, I will pick them up when they float. Will the keys float or will they sink? Who will answer? Yes.
Ma'am, sing. Ma'am, sing.
Yes, the keys will sink.
Sink.
Okay, why they will sink exactly, that explanation will come.
keys will not float on water. They will sink.
Now you confused me. Some things float and others sink in water.
Yes,
So
let's
this we
go home
already
and I will
know.
explain it to you.
We were talking about things floating and sinking.
मैम वॉल्यूम
in
मैम
water.
कम है.
When we put something in water, it will either float on the surface of water or sink to the bottom of the water.
Like
So where does it float? It floats on the, that you should know in English also. Floating takes place on, float on surface of water. Surface of water. Surface is the uppermost layer of water. Okay? And sinking means it sinks to the bottom of the water. So float on the surface and sink to the bottom. So float on because it is on top of it and sink to the bottom. So this also you should know. To the sink to the bottom and float on the surface. These are prepositions. Okay? Okay, let's go ahead. So
like
now
my
we
boat
know.
floats in water and keys sink in water.
Yes, let's do an experiment to find out more about sinking and floating.
Oh, cool! I love experiments. Let me wear my scientist apron.
I will bring.
See if they float or sink.
Why don't you collect your things and we will do
So
the
this we had done
experiment
in the
together.
previous class also, collecting things and trying to see whether they float or sink. And we had done an exercise also, which all of you were very good at. But why I am showing this video is to give a proper explanation of why they sink and why they float. See, now they'll do this
Wow, you
experiment.
look like a real scientist.
Yes, that's because I am a scientist.
So, scientist here with me and all you scientists watching, let's start the experiment.
I will first try to put this yellow duck of my.
So the duck is
Now I will put the
Floating.
spoon in water.
मैम
It
फ्लोटिंग.
should float. No, sink. No, float.
so let's
Let's
see.
put it and see.
So now he puts the
Oh,
spoon, so
Oh,
it
it
sinks.
sink.
Yes, it does sink to the bottom. Let's try again.
It sinks again. So we could conclude that spoon sinks in water.
What about this rock?
Do you know what conclude means? So she's saying, so we can conclude. What does conclude mean? What does conclude mean? He's saying we can conclude. Conclude is a new word. Write it. Conclude means we can infer, or what is an easier word for conclude? Infer. Prove. So decide. 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 Or we can prove. these are different words which we can use. So we can conclude, we can decide, or we can infer. Okay?
Yeah, ma'am.
Note
Okay,
it
ma'am.
down. Note down. Note down.
Rock.
It will sink, I guess.
Yes, it sinks.
And my tennis ball?
It should float.
Oh, yes, it floats.
And your cricket ball?
Hmm.
See, it sinks.
So not all
Now,
balls
we have
float.
seen what floats and what sinks. But why do some things float and others sink?
To understand that, you should first know what happens when we put something in water.
What happens? It either sinks or floats.
Yes, sinking or floating is the result.
Oh, do you mean the reason?
Let's do another experiment to find out the reason.
Okay, let's do it.
This is a bowling ball. See carefully what happens when I put this ball in the bowl of water.
Look, some water has spilled into the bigger bowl.
So what
Yes,
happened?
we-
So water spilled out. So why did the water spill out? To make place for the ball, to make place. So what happens? The water makes place for objects. Now see further. That's how the object can go inside. दैट इज़ ट्रू फॉर एवरीथिंग. कोई भी चीज़ हम जब करते हैं, अगर मेरे को अपने जेब में कुछ डालना है तो मेरे को अपने जेब में जगह बनानी पड़ेगी उस जगह के लिए, उस चीज़ को डालने के लिए. वैसे ही जब भी हम पानी पे कुछ डालते हैं तो हमें पानी को उस चीज़ को उसमें लेने के लिए जगह बनानी पड़ती है. तो वो वाटर मेक्स प्लेस, इट गेट्स डिस्प्लेस्ड.
You can see that the ball has displaced water.
Displaced?
The bowling ball and the water cannot be at the same place at the same time. The water has to make way to make room for the bowling ball.
See, कितने अच्छे
This
से
is
दिखाया
called
इसमें.
displacement.
So this is
It
called
means
displacement.
Being pushed out of place.
Yes.
yes, you got it.
So everything that is put in water displaces water?
Yes, and there is another interesting thing about this displacement of water.
What is that?
To know that, you have to do something for me.
The bowling ball has displaced volume of water equal to its own volume.
Now let's weigh the ball and the ball.
So what is the difference between weight and volume? So you said weight, but they are talking about volume. So what is the difference between weight and volume? Who will tell me? What is volume?
Ma'am, may I tell?
Yes, tell.
Ma'am,
Anurag,
weight is
wait. Let us see. Anurag, do you know? Nirmala, do you know what is volume and what is weight? बताओ, किसको मालूम है? सनी, किसी और को मालूम है? अनुराग, आपको मालूम है? वेट क्या होता है और वॉल्यूम क्या होता है? या निर्मला, आपको मालूम है? जिसको भी मालूम है बोलो. अगर नहीं मालूम है तो बोलो नहीं मालूम. At least.
Ma'am, may I tell?
Okay, tell.
Ma'am, volume is same like a space
Okay.
and space area. Ma'am, volleyball cover amount of area. Ma'am, and weight is ma'am, weight is ma'am their size. Size तो volume का. मैम वेट मैम वजन भार
हाँ, वजन।
मैम दे
ओके,
वजन
वजन। और वॉल्यूम क्या है?
मैम
The space
स्पेस
that an object occupies. ओके, सो
यस
कितनी
मैम
जगह लेता है तो वो वॉल्यूम से डिटरमिन होती है। और कितना वेट है, दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन द ग्रेविटी।
यस मैम
ओके, वो नीचे की तरफ हमारा कितना वेट जाता है। सो देर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन वॉल्यूम एंड वेट। तो व्हेन एनी ऑब्जेक्ट इज पुट इन वाटर, व्हाट हैपेंस? It will displace water equal to its volume, because how much space it occupies उतना ही पानी अलग जाना पड़ेगा, right? Right?
यस राइट राइट मैम
हाँ,
राइट
so
मैम जी
so the water will be displaced. Water displaced is equal to volume of the object. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Anurag, have you
यस
understood?
मैम जी
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Diksha, Sumitra, Sunny, all of you, have you understood? So, जगह बनाने के लिए जितनी जगह ऑक्यूपाई करते हैं उतनी जगह चाहिए। कोई पानी उतनी जगह बनाता है जितनी उसकी स्पेस होती है, वॉल्यूम होती है। ओके, ओके, लेट्स गो अहेड।
Volume of water.
So now she's
The
weighing
ball
the
is
ball.
heavier than the water it displaced.
Now
See, now what happens after the water displaces? Then she is weighing. Now she is finding the weight. Weight of the object and weight of the water displaced. Right? दोनों का वो
Yes,
weight
ma'am जी।
देख रही है। तो what will happen if these two are equal? Then it will float. If the weight of the object is more, it will sink. Okay? So when you say
ओके मैम जी
so the what is compared? The weight of the object to the weight of the water displaced, and the water displaced is equal to the volume of the object. So now do you understand properly? Yes?
यस मैम यस मैम
Everybody tell me. हाँ, everybody. सबको समझ आया ना अच्छे से? या हिंदी में भी बताऊं? बताओ अच्छे से मेरे को। अगर बताना है हिंदी में मैं बताती हूँ। बताओ। सबको समझ आ गया? सब बताओ या चैट पे लिखो yes और no. समझ आया या नहीं आया? जल्दी से लिखो चैट पे, फिर मैं आगे चलाऊं, फिर हम वर्कशीट्स करेंगे। किसी का भी जवाब नहीं आ रहा? आ गया? ओके। दीक्षा?
Yes, ma'am. आगे
सुमित्रा आज नहीं आई है। ओके, अंजलि is saying yes. Very good. Anjali, you want to say something else? Tell me.
No, ma'am.
Okay, good. So everybody has understood. So let's go ahead.
let's repeat the same experiment with your toy boat.
Okay.
Now put this toy boat in the bowl of water.
Okay.
Let's see what happens now.
It will displace water as all things.
Yes. Now let's check the weight of the boat and the water it displaced on the balance.
Oh, it balances.
See?
Yes. You see, the boat has displaced water equal to its own weight.
Yes. Also, the boat was floating in water.
The boat floats in water because it displaces water equal to its own weight.
Oh, now I can tell why the bowling ball sank in water.
Why?
Because the weight of the ball is more than the weight of the water it displaced.
That's right. As the ball moves down, it pushes the water up. Once the ball is completely underwater, it has all the space it needs. Then the water stops moving.
The volume of the displaced water is equal to the volume of the ball.
But volume is not what makes the ball sink. The ball sinks because
Because
it's
of the
heavy. This
weight.
ball weighs 12 pounds. Water weighs something too.
Yes, but less than the ball?
Yes.
Yes.
A bowling ball sized chunk of water weighs around 10 pounds. The water wants to return to its original level, but there is a 12-pound bowling ball in the way.
As the bowling ball is heavier than the displaced chunk of water, it has more sinking power.
Yes, absolutely. So the ball sinks.
And what about the boat?
Okay. So this much is enough. I think you all must have understood. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now what we'll do is.
Boats work in the same way.
But the boats are heavy.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah. This
the
is also
boats are
important.
heavy, but they are also very large, and lot of that space is just air. Because the boats are so large, they display an enormous volume of water.
And all that water is heavy.
Yes, so the boat cannot push down more than its own weight, so the weight of the water keeps it afloat.
So what has happened? So it is so big and the surface of the boat is so it has displaced. Now a small boat also, we were saying that when we put a nail which is made of iron, that sinks. But a boat which is so huge, a ship, that is also made of iron, but that still floats because the weight of the water that it is displaced is equal to the weight of the ship. It cannot,
Ship.
right? So that is why it
Yes,
is
ma'am.
floating. That is the main this thing. Reason.
All that water is heavy. I have another doubt.
Tell me?
Ships are made of iron.
Yes.
This spoon is also made of iron.
Yes.
The boat floats, but the spoon sinks.
Yeah. Can you do another experiment to help you understand this?
Why not? I am a scientist. I love experiments.
Sure you are. Now bring some clay from your clay modeling kit.
Okay, see this also very simply they have explained.
See, if I make a ball out of this clay and drop it in the bowl, what will happen?
It will sink.
Yes, as you said, Jimmy, it sinks. Now, I will make a boat-like structure with this clay and drop it in water.
Okay.
So the
let's see.
amount of clay that she is using is the same, but the shape has changed. The ball sinked. Now she's made with the clay a boat. Now let's see.
What happens now?
See, it
is
floats.
floating.
The same as the boat and the spoon.
First, you must know what is the term in science for floating of things.
Yeah, that's also important. Does anybody know what that is called? It is called, when something floats, the term for floating is buoyancy.
Yes, I
Note
must
these
know.
things down.
After all, I'm a scientist.
It's called buoyancy.
Buoyancy it is.
And buoyancy depends not only on the weight of the
So what's the spelling for buoyancy? Buoyancy, B-O-U, buoyan, oops, sorry. Buoyancy. This is the spelling for N-C-Y, buoyancy. This is the term that we use for, so it depends on the buoyancy of the object. Whether it will float or it will sink. Okay, so buoyancy kya hai? If it is buoyant, if it is, then it floats. If the buoyancy is less, it will sink. What does that mean? Buoyancy is more, it will float. Buoyancy more means it will displace water equal to its weight. And if the buoyancy is less, it will displace water lesser than its weight. Okay? Understood?
ओके मैम जी.
Everybody understood? So, this is the term that we used for floating of water.
Object, but also its shape.
So, a boat floats in water because it is large in size, and the spoon sinks because of its compact shape.
Yes, that's right. Now, can you summarize what we have learned today?
Yes, why?
Okay, now I want you people to summarize. Now tell me, when does a object float? What are the things that help an object to float? Reasons for floating. Who will tell me? Reasons for floating. Who will tell me? First reason, second reason.
मैम मैं टेल.
No, wait, somebody else will tell. कोई और भी बताए? हाँ, कौन बताएगा? अंजलि बताओगे? हाँ, बताओ अंजलि. क्या रीजंस हैं फ्लोटिंग के? अंजलि बताओ जल्दी से. कम ऑन. अनुराग बताएगा. अनुराग आप बताओ.
मैम पहला शेप्स.
First is
मैम शेप.
shape of the object. Okay.
ओ मैम.
Second,
मैम सेकंड वेट.
weight of what?
मैम जैसे किसी का वेट मैम इक्वल हो तो मैम वो होगी.
weight of water displaced. ऐसे बोलेंगे. Okay?
यस मैम.
Shape of the object. इसमें क्या है? If it is big, it will float or sink.
मैम फ्लोट.
Basically, the shape, in the sense how much water it comes in contact with. We have a pin, it comes in contact with very little water. We have a boat or a plate, it comes in contact with more water. So it displaces or equal amount of water. This one will displace less water. The weight of this small object is more than the water it displaces. So shape of the object and the weight of water displaced. Okay?
Okay,
So
ma'am.
this weight of water displaced should be equal to the weight of the object. Write it down. You should.
मैम कर लिया.
Very good. Good. You can say this in English. Bolo Anurag. Ma'am, I have done. I have noted
I have
it.
done, ma'am.
Good. Very good. Okay. So now we'll see these worksheets on properties of water. Okay? Let it open. Let me see whether I have any good ones. Okay. Okay, this one.
मैम we have exam was start.
What do you have?
मैम my exam was start.
Is starting. Was starting? Yeah,
Is
is starting. When is it starting?
मैम in February.
In February. So your exam
Yes, ma'am.
will start in February. There is a lot of time. Abhi to it is
Yes, ma'am.
only December. Okay. Now, everybody, one at a time will answer these questions. Okay? So, we'll start with Sunny. Sunny, read this. Choose the correct answer. Come on, Sunny. All these questions you have to do and keep writing them in your notebooks.
Ma'am all these are easy.
Very easy. Very easy. I know.
Yes, ma'am.
So this time, Neeraj, you will get full marks in all subjects?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, try to do that. If you write proper English, you will definitely get. Okay, Sunny, will you read it? Sunny, I don't know whether he has a problem with net because I have never heard his voice. Yes, Sunny?
मैम अभी आपने कहा मतलब कि इंग्लिश में मतलब मुझे कितने मार्क्स मिले थे?
No, I'm saying if you write well in English,
ओके मैम.
then your marks will not be cut. नहीं तो इंग्लिश टेढ़ी मेढ़ी लिखोगे तो फिर कुछ का कुछ मतलब निकलता है तो फिर मार्क्स कट जाते हैं. Okay, so we'll start with Anjali then. Okay, Anjali? Start, first one. Sunny is not unmuting. Read this.
A puffed fury dash in the water.
In water.
In water.
Puffed नहीं, puffed. A puffed. And puri नहीं है, puri.
Puri.
मैम may I tell meaning
No.
of puff?
नहीं, let her tell. Why do you have to tell everything? A puffed puri dash in water. Tell me, Anjali, what does this mean? First tell me whether it will float or sink. Do you know what puffed puri means?
Puffed puri. No, ma'am.
Okay, who knows?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Diksha, tell me what is a puffed puri?
Ma'am, फूली हुई पूरी.
Yes, okay. A puffed puri. What will happen? Will it float or sink?
Ma'am,
Okay.
sing.
Oops, it will sink? Okay. Anjali, what do you say? Will it sink or float? Puffed.
Ma'am, float.
It will float. Diksha?
Yes, ma'am.
A puffed puri will float. Next time, Diksha, next time your mama is making puri, sit down with her and watch. Okay? You will see.
Okay,
A
ma'am.
puffed puri will always float. Because of the air, it rises up. It needs lesser, it displaces lesser water. Okay? Okay, so the next question, who will answer after Anjali? Nirmala. Okay, Nirmala, answer this question now, second one.
And aluminium.
Aluminium.
And aluminium. What is
Aluminium.
this? Aluminium is a metal. एक metal होता है पर उसकी foil बनती है. आप लोग जिसमें चपाती रैप करते हो, चपाती रैप होती है ना, आप देखोगे सिल्वर कलर की होती है, सिल्वर कलर का पेपर जैसा होता है, वो एल्यूमिनियम फॉइल होती है. ओके?
An aluminium foil dash when it is spread out.
When
Floated.
floats. हाँ, when आगे पढ़ो.
When it is spread out.
हाँ, उसके आगे.
Oh, है. When pressed tightly into a ball,
Tightly.
tightly into a ball, it sinks.
It sinks. Very good. Why? Because the surface area here is more. The shape is different, right? When it is tightly put into a ball, it will sink. Okay, the third. Anurag, now you read the third one.
Things dissolve dash on heating. Ma'am, faster.
Why? What happens?
Ma'am, because this is heat.
Because of the heat. But what happens?
Yes, ma'am.
What happens when you heat? Things start melting.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Like-
what does it mean when you say melting? So I'll just
मैं melting पिघलना
हाँ आई नो, बट एक मिनट सुनो. अब जैसे सॉलिड है, सपोजिंग जो सॉलिड चीज़ होती है ना, विच इज़ नॉट मेल्टेड, उसमें जो मॉलिक्यूल्स होते हैं, दे आर वेरी टाइटली पैक्ड लाइक दिस. ओके. When you heat it, it starts melting, which means it becomes melting. से क्या बन जाता है? लिक्विड, जैसे पानी होता है. उसमें क्या होते हैं, जो मॉलिक्यूल्स होते हैं वो दूर दूर हो जाते हैं. ओके. तो दूर
ओके मैम
दूर दूर हो गए तो वो जल्दी से, इसके बीच में पानी आ जाएगा तो वो जल्दी से डिसॉल्व हो जाते हैं. डिसॉल्व का क्या मीनिंग होता है?
मैम
डिसॉल्व
मिलना
मीन्स, हाँ, to make a solution. Now if we heat this also further, तो क्या बन जाएगा? गैस. तो ये सॉलिड है, ये लिक्विड है, फिर वो गैस में बन जाएगा, वाटर वेपर. तो वो मॉलिक्यूल्स और भी दूर चले जाएंगे, और भी दूर चले जाते हैं. ओके. सो इनकी
ओके मैम
शेप, so they spread out more. Okay, so things dissolve faster on heating. Good. Next, Diksha, read the next question.
Ma'am, how many time get the class of at start?
What? What are you asking
मैम
me?
2 मिनट जब क्लास स्टार्ट होगी मैम कितना समय लेगी खत्म होने में?
Same 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour. Okay, Diksha.
Ma'am, because at 2:30 I will go computer class.
Okay. Diksha, read it. Come on, Diksha. Read the D. Diksha unmute ही नहीं कर रही.
on earth is the sea.
The saltiest. अंजलि ने पढ़ा है. Saltiest sea. Saltiest sea on the earth is the dash sea. Which sea is the saltiest sea? Tell me, Anjali. Anjali, tell me. You have read it, huh? Which is the saltiest?
One.
No, saltiest sea on earth is the. Who knows? Nirmala, do you
Ma'am,
know? Wait, let me ask Nirmala. The saltiest sea on earth is the. Nirmala? What is the name of the sea which is saltiest? सबसे ज्यादा नमक है जिस सी में. Which sea is that? Do you know the name, Nirmala? Nirmala, name पता है? आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही. Okay. Anurag, do you know?
कौन से सी में सबसे ज्यादा नमक होता है?
हाँ. Which sea is that? Which is the name of? What is the name of that sea? Nirmala, do you know the answer? Otherwise, write on chat. Nirmala, write on chat. आपको मालूम है अनुराग? आपने पिछली क्लास अटेंड नहीं करी ना, आपको नहीं मालूम होगा. Okay, Neeraj, tell me, which is the saltiest sea on earth? What is the name of that sea?
मैम मैं अभी आया था अचानक से मैम इसका नाम था.
You don't remember? You also don't remember? It is called the Dead Sea. Last time we had
Yes, ma'am, Dead Sea.
Dead Sea. And in the Dead Sea, everything floats, always floats. Why?
Because in this have a large amount of
Salt in it. So what happens if there is too much salt in water? What will happen? Less. अगर ज्यादा पानी में सॉल्ट होगा तो पानी हेवियर हो जाएगा.
yes ma'am.
तो इसलिए वो कम पानी डिस्प्लेस होएगा, तो चीजें एवरीथिंग विल फ्लोट. ओके.
Yes ma'am.
Okay, now it's whose turn is it? Sumitra. Let me see whether Sumitra will unmute. I am seeing her for the first time in class. Sumitra, can you unmute? Otherwise, okay, Neeraj, you do the next.
Life jacket. Ma'am, may I?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, may I read E?
Yes, yes.
Life jacket are used by people in order to swim in water.
Swim in water.
No मैम एक सेकंड मैम तैरने में मैम फ्लोट.
To float in water. Yes.
यस मैम.
They are used to float in water. Okay?
यस मैम.
Okay. Now we'll go to the next one. Nirmala, you start. Read this question. Read the question.
Classify the following as things which float in water and things which sink in water.
This is easy peasy, right? I think you all will know this. Come on. Tell me, Nirmala, the first one.
Iron nail,
Now, things which float or sink. Okay, sink. Next, Anurag.
matchstick,
Yes.
sink, float,
Which will float. Why? Because it is very light. Okay, third, Diksha.
empty,
Read. Diksha, read it. अभी तो बोलने लगी थी. Okay, Anjali, you read.
मैम कौन सा वाला?
ये वाला.
ये वाला. Empty.
Empty. Empty means khali. Empty. Empty.
Empty closed plastic bottle.
Yes. What will happen? Will it sink or float? What will happen to this? Quickly, जल्दी से करो. Tell me.
Tick.
With को किसको टिक करूं? फ्लोट को या सिंक को? कौन बताएगा इसका आंसर? प्लास्टिक.
मैम मेटल. मैम मेटल.
फ्लोट. Very good. चलो next. Bottle filled with water. Who will tell this?
मैम मेटल.
Metal.
Yes, tell.
Sink.
Yes. Okay, Anurag, soap cake.
Sink.
Soap cake. Will it sink? Why?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because it was heavy.
Because it is heavy and the shape is also compact, like the shape of a ball. Okay. Piece of wood. Neeraj.
मैम मेटल.
Yes,
मैम
Neeraj.
फ्लोट.
Piece of ice. Who will tell?
मैम
Diksha.
मेटल.
Metal.
Yes, tell. Nirmala, tell.
Float.
Very good. Stone. Anurag.
Sink.
Okay, good. Pencil. Anjali.
Sink.
Pencil will sink? No. It is made of wood. Will it sink or float?
Float.
I think it will float. But you can all try this. Try doing this experiment at home. Okay? And then tell me.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then we'll see. Steel plate. Steel plate. What
मैम
will-
मेटल.
Wait.
Metal.
Okay, tell.
मैम मेटल.
Anurag will tell. Steel plate. Okay. He's saying sink. Neeraj, will the steel plate sink or
मैम
float?
फ्लोट. मैम फ्लोट.
Float.
Okay. So pencil and steel plate and needle. This experiment you should all do at home.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
And needle?
Okay.
Needle will?
Sink.
Yeah. So
Ma'am,
but,
sink.
yes, but you should do this experiment at home. Do the experiment. and then see whether what you are thinking is right or not. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Good. And
तेल
complete.
भी है तो क्या है?
And
Needles means pink.
needle will sink. Now then the next question is also what I want you to do. Okay? Mark, tick for things that float and cross for things that sink. So अगर हम बोल रहे हैं empty mug will float, then we mark it as this. If we say it will sink, then we mark it as a cross. So complete these worksheets. Okay? 11:53 हो गया है already. You want to do it here only and then note it down in your copies? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so come on. Nirmala, tell me this. The first
Empty
one.
mug.
Empty mug. Should I put a tick mark? Mark, tick for float and cross for sink. So what should I put?
Ma'am, float tick.
Tick. Okay. Next, Anjali, mug half filled with water.
Ma'am, wrong.
Wrong. It will sink. Mug full of water? Mug full of water? Who will tell? Neeraj,
Ma'am,
tell
I
me.
tell.
Ma'am, I tell.
Ma'am, sink. Ma'am, then cut.
What about half filled with water? Do this experiment also
Ma'am,
at
float.
home. Do this experiment also at home. Okay?
मैम ये आधा पानी में तैरेगा।
हाँ तो पर करो तो सही एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देखना। अनुराग?
मैम मैं रोज नहाते टाइम करता हूँ।
Okay, ma'am.
ओके रोज नहाते समय करते हो, सब लोग करना नहाते समय। अनुराग, आई वॉन्ट यू टू रीड दिस वन। Read it. Anurag, read this one, next one.
Metallic pen.
Yes. Will it sink or float?
Ma'am, metallic pen. Ma'am, sink.
Yes. What about an eraser? Nirmala?
Eraser. Must sink.
Eraser.
Eraser.
Eraser क्या होता है? That is a rubber.
Yes, ma'am, rubber.
हाँ. तो eraser will sink or float? Nirmala, tell me.
Ma'am, sink.
No, it will float. Do this experiment also. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Iron pin put on leaf. Ah, this is a tricky one. Neeraj, tell me, iron pin put on a leaf, will it sink or float?
मैम पेन जो है मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ।
नहीं, iron pin put on a leaf. So there is a leaf here. And we
Pin
have...
for sink and leaf for float.
No! This together, will it sink or float? Tell me, Anurag.
Float, ma'am, float. Ma'am, float.
Float.
Yes, it will float. These two
मैम
things
नीचे के साइज पे
together,
निर्भर है।
these
ma'am,
two things together will float because of the shape of the leaf. Because of the shape of the leaf, right?
मैम आपने पूछा था कि मैम अगर लीफ के ऊपर पिन रखे तो वो डूबेगी कि नहीं।
हाँ, leaf पूरी iron pin put on a leaf. This is what I drew. There is a iron leaf. There is a leaf. On this we have put a pin, iron pin. Will this
मैम साइज पे निर्भर है।
and yes, because of the shape of the leaf, not the size, shape.
मैम अगर लीफ मैम जितनी आपने बनाई अगर उतनी और उतनी ही बड़ी अगर मैम नीडल हो तो मतलब
तब
हो
भी
तो
वो तो सिंक करेगी बिकॉज उसकी शेप कॉम्पैक्ट है, उसका वेट उतना नहीं, वो पानी को उतना डिस्प्लेस नहीं कर पाएगी अपने वेट जितना।
फिर
हाँ, समझ आ रहा है?
यस मैम फ्लोट है।
तो सब लोग एवरीबडी विल डू द, जिसमें भी डाउट हो वो एक्सपेरिमेंट करना घर पे, एंड देन अटेम्प्ट दीज वर्कशीट्स, कंप्लीट देम एंड सबमिट देम। ओके? करते ही नहीं
Okay,
हो
ma'am.
आप लोग सबमिट।
उधर
और
पेंसिल का क्या है?
मैं एक और दे रही हूँ आप लोगों को। चलो, I was thinking of giving you another worksheet also, but this is enough. Just do this work. So we'll stop streaming.